of my invoice under the Invoices tab. So here we are still on a specific invoice. There'll be two views of that invoice, the Superbill view and the CMS view. This is the Superbill view, and basically when you set up your patient's invoice type on the left-hand side here, this is something that you've preset in your patient's case detail, but it's reflecting here on the left-hand side. The reason why you preset that invoice type is that when you create an invoice, it will then bring you to the proper view of that invoice. Since my patient here was set up with Superbill as invoice type, that's the view that we're looking at right now. So if you need to add a diagnostic code to a specific invoice, this is where you would do so. Let's see. Same thing here. If you wanted to add a CPT code, you would do it on in this area here. Anything that's recurring that you know that your patient is going to have every time, that's what you preset in your patient's case detail. But on a given invoice, you can add a one-time code. And then this is where you bill for your products if you are keeping an inventory. One thing to make sure of is to enter a quantity so that it properly deducts it from your inventory. We're going to have a subtotal for procedures, and then a subtotal for products, and then finally a grand total for both on this screen here. Now, if we want to take a look at this CMS view, if you had set up your invoice type for your patients as CMS 1500, this is how you would be looking at this view of your invoice. Same thing as, as I add a code on either view, it reflects in the other one. So it's pretty much equal. Now for the CMS view, there are additional views that we can take a look at. If this is for Insurance Payer 1, we can look or we can click on the Insurance Payer 1 tab. And here we will have the same thing that we have when we set up the case detail of the patient. We will have the payer information here. And so if we needed to switch that, we could do that here. And then we can click on View CMS Form, and then we'll have the actual CMS form. And this here is not your template for your patient. This is specific to that invoice. So should you make a change here, it's not going to reflect on your template that you created under your patient's case detail. That's kind of important to know, because sometimes people will change something here thinking that they're making a permanent change. Right here, you're just making a change to that specific invoice. And the way you know where you are is by looking at the top bar here and see that the invoice tab is what's highlighted. So if you notice that something is wrong with the setting of the CMS form here and you want to change it, that's fine. You can go ahead and change it here before you submit that to the insurance company. But then make sure that you go back to your patient's case detail and to the Insurance Payer 1 of that case detail, and that you fix your CMS template for your patient so that future invoice will be correct. And that is it for this video here. Of course, same thing, if this were Insurance Payer 2, you would click on Insurance Payer 2 tab.